Hey guys, Brittany here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Tech News, the series on this channel where I give you the weekly or daily rundown of some of the top trending tech news. Now, this video has about 2 to 3 days of tech news filled in, and let's try to get as much of that out in this video as possible. So let's get into it. The LG G6 was showcased earlier this week and it looks really cool. The guiding principle behind the G6's design, LG says, was to make a phone with a big screen that's easier to use in one hand. The obvious way to do that is to reduce the bezel surrounding the screen, which LG has done to a greater extent than ever before. But the company has also changed the shape of the screen itself. The 5.7-inch LCD has a resolution of 2880 with 1440, giving it a taller 18:9 aspect ratio. In other words, it's exactly twice as tall as it is wide. By increasing the height of the phone rather than just stretching it diagonally, LG has created a phone with a very manageable width that doesn't sacrifice the ability to display a lot of content at once. The display's corners have also been rounded off, evoking the softer edges of the device itself, although the curves don't match exactly. The G6 is dominated by this screen, with the small bezels allowing 80% of the front of the device to be given over to the display. I released a video earlier this week where I talked a bit about the G6, and that video will be the first link below, so let's move forward. Sony's PlayStation VR sales have been stronger than expected. The PlayStation VR headset is selling better than the company originally anticipated when the device went on sale last October. Sony was cautious in its rollout, but speaking to the New York Times, it's now offered the first concrete numbers for how well the device has been selling, providing a glimpse onto the overall health of the VR marketplace. The Times spoke with Sony Interactive Entertainment's global chief executive, Andrew House, who revealed that Sony had sold 915,000 headsets since the product's launch last October. Sony had planned to sell 1 million devices by the middle of April this year and is likely to pass that goal. The popularity of the headsets has meant that the device has been difficult to find in stores. They literally have people lining up outside stores when they know stock is being replenished, House explained to the New York Times. He went on to say that availability will improve by April and that the company is expecting to expand their sales to Latin America. The main competitors to the PlayStation VR have yet to officially release their own sales numbers, but estimates point to lower sales. HTC Vive is believed to have sold around 420,000 units, while Facebook's Oculus Rift sold an estimated 243,000 headsets sold by the end of 2016, according to The Times, citing figures from research firm Superdata Research. There have been indications that the PlayStation VR has been a strong seller from the onset, with Sony's president of Interactive Entertainment Europe and Global Sales and Marketing telling CNBC in October that the device had strong pre-sales and that they were anticipating ramping up the production by the end of 2016. The PlayStation VR also sells for lower price points and it works with existing gaming hardware rather than that of the Rift, which retails for $600. In other news, let's talk a bit about YouTube. YouTube launches its own streaming TV service. At an event in Los Angeles, YouTube announced its own streaming TV service. The offering will mix live streams of broadcast and cable television programming with the wealth of online video found on YouTube. It's the latest in a surge of over-the-top or OTT services, trying to woo customers who never bought into traditional cable television. The service will exist as a standalone app. For $45 a month, subscribers get all 4 major networks, ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC, and roughly 35 cable channels. That price covers 6 accounts, so each member of the household can have a personalized account that offers recommendations tuned to their taste. Also, if you're a college student who lives in a dorm and you know 5 other people would benefit from this, that could be an easy price split of only $6 each month. YouTube TV, as it's called, will be missing channels from Viacom, including big names like Comedy Central and MTV. It also won't have programming from Turner Broadcasting, meaning you won't be able to get CNN, TBS, and TNT. AMC Networks, Discovery Communications, Time Warner, and A+E Networks are also missing as of the official launch announcement. Consumers are increasingly spreading their attention across traditional television, online video, and social media. Advertisers want to spend money in a way that reaches across those different mediums. YouTube, with its massive audience and wealth of information on the viewers who are watching, is well positioned to help TV networks capture marketing dollars in this new and often confusing environment. I personally think YouTube is taking a very smart and interesting step here with this new entertainment platform, and if anyone has any thoughts on this, feel free to express your feelings in the comment section below. On to other YouTube news. On Monday, YouTube reported that humans watch 1 billion hours of YouTube every single day. Yeah, YouTube users are watching more than 1 billion hours of videos every single day, the company has announced. Put back to back, that's more than 100,000 years of footage, split between the millions of YouTube users across the world. The company announced the figure in a blog post published on Monday, but said that the billion-hour milestone was actually reached last year. YouTube said that it was now focusing more on the length of time people spend watching YouTube videos rather than the overall views a video receives. An internal decision made a few years back that it said would help the company understand if users enjoyed a video in question. And that in itself is not surprising at all, because it's obvious that year after year online entertainment platforms such as YouTube and Facebook are becoming more and more popular, and information and news are easily available for anyone who can get online and type a few words. If YouTube continues to exist and grow at the rate it's growing, it wouldn't be surprising to see that number double or even triple within a few years. Next up in the news, we have something from Evan Blass, a well-known tech leak star on Twitter. Earlier this week, he leaked a photo of the Samsung Galaxy S8, and it seems to be everything that we expected. His new image reveals a handset that agrees wholeheartedly with Samsung's Mobile World Congress teaser of a device with utterly minimal front bezels. It also features Samsung's confirmed date for the launch, March 29th, and gives a good look at what's presumably going to be the lock screen, welcoming users when the phone is released in April. Now let's get into the final rush of tech news from the last 24 hours or so. Oculus is cutting the price of its Rift headset and touch motion controllers by $100 each, dropping the cost of a complete system to $598. The change was announced yesterday at GDC alongside a slate of new games that will be released throughout the year. It makes the Oculus Rift significantly cheaper than its main competitor, the HTC Vive, and only $100 more than the current budget headset, the PSVR. There's no retroactive discount for recent Rift or Touch buyers, but people who purchased Touch at full price in the last 30 days will get a $50 Oculus Store credit. On to more news, the iPhone won't switch to USB-C, but its cable likely will. The Wall Street Journal reported earlier this week that the next iPhone would feature a USB-C port for the power cord and other peripheral devices instead of the company's original Lightning connector. The Polywood report made it seem like Apple was planning to replace its Lightning connector with USB-C, but reliable KGI Securities analyst Ming-Chi Kuo disagrees. We believe all three new iPhones launching in 2017 will support fast charging by the adoption of Type-C power delivery technology while still retaining the Lightning port, says Kuo in a research note obtained by MacRumors. The note appears to suggest that Apple will switch one end of the power cord to USB Type-C instead of the regular USB connector. If accurate, this is still a big change for the next iPhones due this year. A USB-C power cord with a Lightning connector for the phone would mean you could plug a new iPhone into the latest MacBook Pro, but you'll need a different cord or an adapter to plug it into older MacBooks and PCs. And finally in the news, the new GeForce GTX 1080 Ti is Nvidia's fastest graphics card ever. Nvidia has announced its next monster graphics card, the 699 GeForce GTX 1080 Ti. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang unveiled the new card on stage at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, where he promised that the GTX 1080 Ti not only offered 35% more performance than its predecessor, the base GTX 1080, but that it was even faster than the current king of cards, the $1,200 Titan X. The GTX 1080 Ti beats out the regular GTX 1080 in most specifications, with 11GB of 11GB per second DDR5X VRAM, compared to its predecessor's 8GB. And while the Titan X has more RAM, which is 12GB, it runs at slower speeds of 10GB per second and falls very slightly behind the new card in terms of bandwidth and compute power. The GTX 1080 Ti also isn't as much of a power hog as the $1,200 Titan X, pulling 220 watts compared to the older card's 250. Nvidia says that the new 1080 Ti will arrive in stores this month, and it will also bring a price cut for the older GTX 1080, reducing it to $500. And that's just about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you want to get more info on what I talked about here in this video, feel free to check out the links in the description below. Also, if you want to check out previous videos, I'll leave a few links down below as usual so that you can check them out. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Hey guys, Brain here and welcome to a short video all about the LG G6. Since the release of this device is very close and a few YouTubers actually already got hands-on experience with a review version of the device, I thought I'd make a video on it. And if you haven't seen any of the videos I mentioned by the specific YouTubers, you could check the links below in the description to check out more specs on this thing and get more info on this device.